Hello everyone, my name is Apurva and welcome back to my series 100 Days 100 Problems, where I bring a Power Apps problem and turn it into a working solution. So let's take a look at our today's problem. Here someone is requesting step-by-step video to multi-select gallery items and download them all at once. They want to enable multi-select in a gallery, example with checkboxes, keep track of the selected items using a collection or something similar, and then lastly add a download button that lets users download all selected items at once. For context, it's a Canvas app. The items in the gallery represent files or attachments. Database can be anything, SharePoint, OneDrive, Dataverse, anything is fine. It's totally okay if the solution uses Power Automate, example zip files, or handle batch downloads. The main goal is for the end user to simply select multiple records and click one button to download them all. Now there are multiple ways to how we can achieve this, one of it being using the Power Automate flow. But let's make it more challenging. Let's see if we are able to achieve this functionality without using any automation, just Canvas app and that's it. For that, first we require a database. So I'm creating a file list in SharePoint, and this is very simple list. I'm not adding any additional columns, just using the title column to add two videos and two PDF files. I'll just add attachments, and that's it. Now that we have created our database, we'll connect it with our Power Apps. Just add it into add data and just select the list that you created from your SharePoint site, and that's it. It's connected. Now we need a vertical gallery to display all the contents in that file list. So let's do that. And then let's get rid of this right icon here and instead add checkboxes. Now, if we come back to our question, we have enabled multi-select in a gallery, that is adding checkboxes, but we do still need to keep a track of the selected items and actually add them in some collection. So let's do that. On the check property, there are two properties that we need to take care of: on check and on uncheck. So when you check the box, what happens? And when you uncheck the box, what happens? So on check, when you check the box, you need to collect the items and put it in a collection, and similarly, when you uncheck the box, you need to remove those items that you put in the collection. So in here, on check, we will write collect, the collection name, and we are collecting two things, two parameters here. First is the file name of the attachment, and second is the file URL. Now for file URL, you're going to copy your SharePoint site up until where I've written test hub. That is basically your SharePoint site name. Then after that, you're going to copy layouts 15, download, and up until source URL. And this particular link that we have just written in double quotes, don't forget the quotes, of course. This is basically us letting SharePoint know, hey, I want to, not the SharePoint, the Power Apps know that, hey, I want to download this link rather than just preview it. So that is what is going to help us to do that. And then after that, we also need to provide, okay, we let it know that we need to download, but what do you want to download? So after that, there is another separate link that we have in the formula, and you're going to want to put that in encode URL, because let's say if your name has any special characters or if it has any spaces, this encode URL is going to make sure that it doesn't break, and it sort of takes care of that. And then after, so in this encode URL, the link that you're seeing after test hub, you can see I've mentioned list, files, attachments, because I created a list, and then in that list I have files list, that is the list name, and then attachments, right? So make sure you change that files to whatever you are naming your list as. And then we have this item.id, that is basically the ID of your file, and then the display name. So if you look in this, any attachment that you want to like sort of test this theory on, you can see we have the item ID and the display name at the end. So it lets SharePoint know. sorry, I keep saying SharePoint, but I mean, it keeps letting Power Apps know what exactly you're trying to download here, right? Now that we have added on check formula, we are also going to add on uncheck formula. Now this formula will help you clean your collection by removing the file whose name matches with the current attachment. Meaning, if you check a particular box, that particular item gets added in the collection. And if you uncheck, that particular item gets removed from the collection. Now let's test our formula. Before that, I'm going to add a vertical gallery to see actually what's going in the collection and what's getting out of the collection. So here I've added a gallery with call files collection. And you can see as soon as I check the box, the items goes in, and on unchecking, it comes out. So with this, we have achieved first and second step. Now the final step comes in, which is the download button, which will let us download the files that we have put in the collection. For that, let's add a button. Now, generally, when we are dealing with a collection, to perform any action on all the items in the collection, we would normally use for all. So let's try and see if we use for all function and combine it with launch, what happens then. So I'm going to add one item and click on download. So you can see the file got downloaded, which is great. Now let's see if I add multiple files, does it work? So it did download, but there was only one file that got downloaded, and which was the last file. So even though the formula that we wrote looks correct, it won't work as we expect it to, and it will end up opening the last link that is in the collection. To work around this, we will use the timer control. Now in the timer, I want it to download a file after every 500 milliseconds. So let's specify that. It needs to repeat itself. And we're going to make use of certain variables to control the timer. Now on the onVisible property, we'll declare two variables. One is start download, which will hold true or false value. This will be the indicate that the timer needs to start or needs to stop. Second will be the download index, which will have value 1. This is nothing but to keep a track of how many files we have downloaded or which file we are downloading at the moment. So this will initialize the variables as soon as the user comes on this screen. Now we are going to copy this exact formula and going to paste this on the download button. So anytime the user hits the download button, these variables also are initialized to the same values. But instead start download that was false, here it will be true. Basically, whenever the user hits download, the timer needs to start. So this start download variable is set to true whenever the download button is clicked. And similarly here on the auto start property of timer, we need to set this variable. Now the timer has started, but when the timer ends, we need to perform our download action here. So first we are going to add a if condition. If start download is true, okay, it was true, and the download index is less than equal to count rows which is in the collection. So download index was 1 initially, and let's consider we have 4 files in the collection, right? So 1 is less than equals to 4, so then our launch function will execute, and it will basically launch all the files that are in the collection based on their index one by one. And then once we have performed this, we'll also update the download index, which will be download whatever was the download index initially plus 1. So let's say it was 1 initially. So 1 plus 1, 2. Next time it comes again 2 plus 1, 3. So that way it keeps on increasing that variable. And also the timer needs to end at some point, otherwise it will keep running in a loop unless specified. So if this if condition that we have mentioned at the top is false, then we will update the start download to be set as false. Before testing, let me show you my downloads folder. You can see nothing is downloaded from today, and we already have three files in our collection. So let's directly hit download. You can see files got downloaded, and it's exactly three folder files that got downloaded, one video and two PDF files. So great, our function is working as we expected it to. Let's do another test, only this time I'm just going to increase the time here, so the time between the files is actually a bit more. And let's try this one more time. So we select the files, hit the download button, and you can see two files got downloaded, and we see them in our downloads folder as well. This was a very quick and easy way of doing this in Power Apps without using any flow. I'm gonna clean up the app a bit and I'll show you the final look. Are you guys ready? So here's the final look. We've got a little logo, app name, a download and cancel button. I've also added link icon on the left so you can actually see what the link is and then decide whether you want to download it or not. So I've just downloaded some random files. So you click the checkboxes to select the files that you want to download and then click the download button. I've also added an additional feature to basically show the status of the files that are getting downloaded at the bottom. It also tells you the file that you are on and the total number of files that you have in the collection. And at the end, it also lets you know, okay, all the files are downloaded. So it's nice to have a little progress bar at the bottom. And then I've also added the cancel button, which is basically nothing but it clears the entire collection all at once. So in case like I just have like four files, right? But I'm assuming you might have a lot more than that. So it's better to have the a clear button or like a reset button instead of asking the user to uncheck it every time they change their mind. And that's it. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to solve your problem, do comment your problem in the comment box below. And I'll see you next time.